We are just at quorum. We got to keep people in the room.
All right, you ready? Ooh. Good evening. Welcome to the Metropolitan Council meeting. Tonight is September the 18th, 2018. It is 6:34 p.m. We are ready to begin. Will all members of the council as well as the public please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation this evening will be offered by Reverend Omarin Lee Guest of Councilmember Kathleen Murphy. He is a member of the St. James AME Church.
Let us look to the Lord. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are all-knowing and omnipresent. We laud and magnify your holy and precious name. Bless these leaders and council members in their deliberations this evening. Invoke the right spirit in each of them to listen for your voice and make the righteous decisions for this, your city. Remind them of the oath that they have taken in service. Allow them to hear your people and one another. Cause their business to be done in decency and in order, for your glory and the edification for future generations. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all may be seated. Okay, without objection, we will suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of those members present throughout the meeting. Approval of previous meeting minutes. Is there a motion for the adoption of the? Thank you. September the 4th. I heard a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed no. You adopt. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
No, Mr. Vice Mayor, there are no messages from the mayor.
All right, thank you. We do have one presentation tonight. Councilmember Nancy Van Rees. Oh, okay, so we have a second.
Welcome.
We are acknowledging Janet Jernigan upon her retirement from 50 Forward. If any council members who have 50 Forward locations in their district wants to join us, that'd be great. Yeah, or if you want one, that's okay. Now everybody's coming. Thank you. Okay, we are here for resolution number 2018-1375, a resolution honoring Janet Jernigan upon the occasion of her retirement from 50 Forward. Whereas Janet Jernigan is the executive director of 50 Forward and has dedicated herself to the needs of a growing elder and caregiver population for the past 28 years, and whereas launched in 1956, 50 Forward is Middle Tennessee's premier agency serving individuals 50 and older, and whereas 50 Forward's lifelong learning centers, programs, and services help older adults live fuller, more productive lives with a sense of dignity and self-worth, and whereas Janet Jernigan has demonstrated her commitment to the 50 Forward mission to support, champion, and enhance the life for those over 50 and older. And whereas, under Janet Jernigan's leadership, 50 Forward offers hundreds of educational and wellness programs, supportive care services for frail or homebound individuals, resources for caregivers, and volunteer opportunities, and
whereas annually 50 Forward makes significant impact in lives of nearly 20,000 older adults, their family members, and at-risk children served through their intergenerational programs. And whereas during her career at 50 Forward, the annual budget has grown from $1 million to $4.8 million, and organization's customer service rating exceeds 95%. And whereas Janet Jernigan was first inductee into the Council of Community Service Hall of Fame for Executive Directors. And whereas in 1991, the Davidson County Business and Professional Woman named her Woman of the Year and recipient of Best Maddox Award. And whereas in 1999, Janet Jernigan became the first CEO of the Year award recipient from the Center for Nonprofit Management.
And whereas, in 2000, Ms. Jernigan successfully led the first major capital endowment campaign in the organization's history, raising $15 million to fund the construction of 3 centers. And whereas in 2009, Janet Jernigan received the Athena Award, Nashville's highest honor for female leaders. And whereas, Janet Jernigan is a role model for active aging and has successfully been competing in running competitions for 40 years and in triathlons for the past 30 years, and whereas it is fitting and proper that the Metropolitan Council recognizes and congratulates Janet Jernigan upon her retirement and commends her for her service to 50 Forward and the citizens of Nashville.
Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Metro Government of Nashville and Davidson County, Section 1, the Metro Council hereby goes on record as recognizing Janet Jernigan for 28 years of service to 50 Forward. Section 2, the Metropolitan Council Office is directed to prepare a copy of this resolution to be presented to Janet Jernigan. And Section 3, the resolution shall take effect from and after its adoption, the welfare of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County requiring it. Thank you, and congratulations, Janet.
I want to take this opportunity to thank this body. Actually, it'll be 29 years in a couple of months. When I first came to 50 Forward, the approval had just been given for the transfer of the Donaldson former elementary school to 50 Forward for our 50 Forward Donaldson station. We mentioned the $15 million capital campaign. We also worked with Metro Council in the process of transferring the Knowles Trust, which was previously administered by the mayor, so that we could sell a building that we didn't own on Broadway in order to be able to build the facility at the fairgrounds. The body also approved the $1 a year lease that we have for 40 years with the State Fair Board on that property. And then most recently, just the support that we received for the budget amendment to provide some operating support to our 5 centers in Davidson County. And then, of course, this last year, we were fortunate to be included for direct appropriation in the mayor's budget, and you all were supportive of that. Just thank you so much for what you do. It's been my privilege to be involved with Metro government for many years. I was just telling Mark North coming in, one of the first things I remember was a simulated disability project that I coordinated when I chaired the mayor's task force about 35 years ago, where we put 30 community leaders assumed disabilities. And so Joanne North was assigned to be in a wheelchair that morning. We met down here on the plaza, and she recruited Jay West to come and push her, and Jay got down here, and Jay said, well, you know, Joanne, nowadays we really want people with disabilities to be independent, so you're on your own. And so then Joanne spoke at a conference I chaired not long after that and told everybody every time I called her on the phone that she starts to hyperventilate. So I'm sure there's some of you who will not hyperventilate quite as frequently when we're in contact with that, but it's been my privilege to be on several task forces. And one thing I learned when I was 4 years on the Metropolitan Planning Commission was a very educational, character-building experience, and it really made me appreciate the work that all of you do. You would never see me running for public office, just having people all the time requesting things, letting you know they're issues, and you all do such a good job of trying to find the resources in the community to solve problems of the constituents that you represent. So you ask, what can you do for 50 Forward in the future? We have a huge need to build a new facility in the Bordeaux community to be comparable to the other centers that we have. We'll be putting a request in to David Briley. Hope that you all will be supportive of some funding for that. We'll be asking for $500,000 over a 2-year period for a capital request. And so with that, I rest my case, and I hope our paths will cross many times in the future. Thank you, Nancy.
Suzanne's not gonna.
I believe they're taking a picture in the back.
All right, there you go. Help Suzanne out.
Our weekly wow that we do.
Sorry, Vice Mayor.
I'm sucking it in, Colby.
All right, beautiful.
All right, and I was wrong. We actually have a second presentation tonight. Councilmember Elrod.
Everybody's here for Public Works, come on. There are a lot of us. That's good. Resolution 1388, resolution recognizing the Metropolitan Nashville Public Works Department for receiving the American Public Works Association accreditation designation. Whereas on July 3, 2018, the Metropolitan Nashville Public Works Department was awarded the prestigious American Public Works Association accreditation designation. And whereas the APWA accreditation program recognizes the public works agencies that go beyond the requirements of the management practices established nationally in the public works industry. And whereas Metro Nashville Public Works initially applied for accreditation in November 2017. And whereas this past June, a team of public works professionals from Glenview, Illinois, Lakeland, Florida, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Kansas City, Missouri completed a thorough evaluation of the Metro Nashville Public Works Department operations during a site visit. And whereas the accreditation of the Metro Public Works Department indicates that the department met all applicable accreditation documentation and practices, and that the Metro Nashville Public Works employees are accredited professionals within the industry. And whereas the purpose of the accreditation program is to provide a means of formally verifying and recognizing public works agencies for the compliance of recommended practices set forth in the Public Works Management Practices Manual, and whereas the agency accreditation is a voluntary, self-motivated approach to objectively evaluate, verify, and recognize compliance with the recommended management practices, and whereas the objectives of the accreditation program are to create impetus for organization self-improvement and stimulate general raising of standards, offer a voluntary evaluation and education program rather than government-related activity, recognize good performance and provide motivation to maintain and improve performance, improve public works performance and the provision of services, increase professionalism, and instill pride among agency staff, elected officials, and the local community. And I think these stats are important. And whereas the Metro Nashville Public Works had 4 model practices and received a 100% compliance rate for all 362 practices that applied. And whereas the model practices, which Public Works had 4 of them, will be used as a guide reference to assist other public works agencies in achieving this prestigious honor. And whereas there are more than 29,000 public works agencies in North America, and of those agencies, only 146 agencies are accredited. And whereas Metro Nashville Public Works is the 101st accredited agency in North America and the 6th capital city accredited in North America. And whereas locally, Metro Nashville Public Works is the 2nd accredited agency in Tennessee and the largest. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the Metro Council recognize and congratulate the Metropolitan Nashville Public Works Department for their hard work and prestigious accreditation from the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, the Metropolitan Council hereby goes on record as recognizing and congratulating the Metropolitan Nashville Public Works Department for receiving the American Public Works Association accreditation designation. The Metro Council Office is directed to prepare and present a copy of this resolution to Director Mark Sturdivant, and this resolution shall take effect from and after its adoption, the welfare of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County requiring it. Mr. Vice Mayor, I'm going to ask Mr. Sturdivant to speak. I'm going to ask first Mr. Bo Mills, who is the past president of the American Public Works Association, to address the council very briefly.
Proceed ahead.
Thank you. And on behalf of the American Public Works Association and its board of directors, I am very proud as a Tennessean to be here to support this group for this work that they've done. Very proud of the work that they've done to show improvement, process improvement. They've made a difference in their organization, and they'll make a difference across this state. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here, and congratulations to this team.
Thank you.
And very briefly, I just want to congratulate all the Public Works employees behind me, and most importantly, I believe all of those that aren't here tonight that are at home and have to report for work for their shift in the morning, because they do a lot of the work that we ask, that we send emails to Public Works to do, and they're the ones out there doing the work. And I think we have one of the best Public Works departments in the country. And I, as the Public Works chair, I'm very proud of them and everyone that's behind me. The improvements that they've done in the department and under the leadership of Mark Sturdivant, I think is something that I'm proud of, and I think all of Nashville should be proud of. So, Mr. Mark Sturdivant.
I want to thank the council tonight for this recognition. It's very thoughtful of you. I also want to thank all the people at Public Works, all the employees that work so hard on this to bring this to fruition. It's a great group. I want to single out Philip Jones and Rocky Robinson for their leadership. So thank you very much. They do good work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing me. Thank you very much.
Can we do just a group?
All right, now that we've got everybody back in, I'm going to go to Councilmember O'Connell for a brief recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. This one, I'm sad that Councilman Poley is not here to behold this particular moment because it's largely his fault, but I did want to introduce a few people in the audience tonight. I've got 3 people who you will see occasionally with me at meetings and occasionally in committees and other public scenarios, all of whom are interns, 2 of whom hail from Fisk University and 1 from Lipscomb. I've got Shalina Mohammed, Nakia Stellivan, and Andrew Daffron. So thank you all for being here, and thank you for Mr. Vice Mayor for giving me just an opportunity to welcome them to council tonight.
Sure, thank you, Council Member. Okay, before we get into elections and confirmations, I was going to take just a moment of personal privilege. Obviously, we've been through a lot over the last many months, and I just wanted to state my personal thank you and appreciation. I know that Council Lady Weiner is not here. Councilmember Berkeley Allen is. But would you join me in thanking them for the incredible amount of work they put into keeping this council together? And if someone would let Councilmember Weiner know that I did that, that would be great. We'll do it at the next meeting as well. Two other things before we get into elections and confirmations. Roseanne Hayes is going to be passing out a sheet that contains the council committee assignments. They will start October the 1st and run through the end of the term. She is typing them up, and I think she is going to pass them out on the desk. The other thing that I will tell you is that I had indicated at some point that I was going to announce several special committees. I don't have them all ready to go tonight, but I did say that I was going to start immediately. These are special committees. There will be more information on them as we get started. They are small special committees appointed by rule by the Vice Mayor. The first one deals with school safety. It is making sure that our schools are safe. I have asked Councilmember Haywood to be the chair of that committee. Mr. Kendall is also going to serve on that special committee, and Councilmember Berkeley Allen is going to serve on that committee. I also had announced that there was going to be an innovation committee. That's probably one of the committees that's a little different than what we normally have. This is looking for ideas both from the council and from the public at large to look at new things that would help make Nashville better, new creative ideas. I know that we always have to be concerned about resources, but these are new ideas that are coming in, things that we might want to think through. I have asked Councilmember Mina Johnson to chair that committee. The other members of the committee will be Mary Carolyn Roberts, Nancy Van Rees, Kathleen Murphy, Councilmember Sharon Hurt, and Councilmember Anthony Davis. So that's the Innovation Committee. The third committee that I'll announce tonight deals with contract procurement. I know many of the members yesterday, or many of the members came to a presentation yesterday that was hosted by Councilmember Tanaka Vercher. This was on trying to determine minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses and the amount of contracts they get with Metro. I know that the mayor's office is also working on this, but we would like to have a committee also work on this. So I have asked Councilmember Jacobia Dow to chair this committee, along with Member Scott Davis will be on this committee, and Councilmember Jeremy Elrod. You will hear more information about that. You'll get information from me about that, but those committees will start very, very soon. Having said that, we are now back on the agenda. Thank you for the moment of personal privilege. We are now ready to go to elections and confirmations first. We will be taking nominations to fill 2 vacancies for the Health and Educational Facilities Board. The election is going to be on October the 2nd, 2018. Councilmember Berkeley Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to nominate Becky Sharp.
Becky Sharp. All right. Thank you, Councilmember Allen. Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to nominate Ms. Anne Marie Farmer, please.
Anne Marie Farmer. Thank you. Councilmember Erica Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to nominate Terrence Izzard.
Terrence Izzard.
Terrence Izzard.
Okay. And Councilmember Kendall.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to nominate Shia Hendricks, S-H-I-A Hendricks.
Shia Hendricks. Okay, any other nominations? Okay, so we have 4 nominations. I believe by rule that that information has to be given to the clerk's office by a certain time, and we will actually have the election for this on October the 2nd. So I think a notice will be coming out from the clerk's office to make sure we get that information. Okay, thank you for the nominations. We are on now elections and confirmations. I'm going to call on Committee Chair Haywood for a committee report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We will start with the Blue Ribbon Commission, and we interviewed the following candidates. We started with the appointment of Ms. Emily Evans, and after we found out that she was extremely qualified, we took it to vote, and we voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
So we have a motion for confirmation for Ms. Emily Evans to serve on the Blue Ribbon Commission. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
The next appointment is of Ms. Gracie Porter, which she is quite capable. We took it to vote, and we voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. Gracie Porter to the Blue Ribbon Commission. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
The
Madam
next appointment of Mr. Brad Rayson. We took it to vote, and we voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for approval.
Okay. Members of the council, you have heard the motion for confirmation for Mr. Brad Rayson to the Blue Ribbon Commission. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
Next, we have the appointment of Mr. D.J. Whitson. We voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. D.J. Whitson for the Blue Ribbon Commission. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
Mr. Dave Yates, he was unavailable to be here, and we deferred him 1 meeting.
Okay. So we have Mr. Dave Getz that will come up on the next meeting.
That's exactly right.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We're now on Community Corrections Advisory Board.
The reappointment of Mr. Kevin R. McGee for a term expiring August the 31st of 2020. After interviewing him, we voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
So we have a motion to approve Mr. Kevin McGee. Motion for confirmation to the Community Corrections Advisory Board. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. And now we're on the Wastewater Hearing Authority.
The Wastewater Hearing Authority, we interviewed the reappointment of Ms. Ruthie Cherry for a term expiring October the 1st of 2020. We voted 5 in favor of and 0 against and found her quite capable, and I move for confirmation.
So you have a motion in front of you to confirm Ms. Ruthie Cherry to the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
Next, we have the reappointment of Mr. David Gillis for a term expiring October the 1st of 2020. We voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
So you've heard the motion for confirmation for Mr. David Gillies to the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
Next, we have the reappointment of Mr. J. Tant for a term expiring October the 1st of 2020. We voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
So you've got a motion before you, a motion for confirmation of Mr. J. Tant to the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
Next, we have the reappointment of Dr. Edward Thaxton for a term expiring October the 1st of 2020. Found him to be more than capable, and we voted 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is probably a special motion then, because you found him to be more than capable. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Dr. Edward Thaxton to the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt.
They were really all more than capable, because I want to say the same thing about Mr. Robert Wingfield. The reappointment of Dr. Robert Wingfield for a term expiring October the 1st of 2020. We voted 5 for and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Dr. Robert Wingfield to the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Madam Chair. So if you would, stand as I call your name so that we can properly recognize you. This is for the Blue Ribbon Commission. Miss Emily Evans, former council lady, Miss Emily Evans. Miss Gracie Porter, former member of the school board. Mr. Brad Rayson. Mr. DJ Whitson. Community Corrections Advisory Board, Mr. Kevin R. McGee. Okay. Wastewater Hearing Authority, Miss Ruthie Cherry. Mr. David Gillies. Mr. Jay Tant. Dr. Edward Thaxton. And Dr. Robert Wingfield. So on behalf of the entire Metro Council, we thank you for your willingness to serve and to volunteer your time and expertise. Thank you very much. So a long time ago, it used to be proper for the Vice Mayor to say that any of these members who were just confirmed are certainly welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the council meeting. But I don't believe in the 11 years I've been on the council that anybody has ever stayed that long, and they've all left. So thank you all for being here. Okay, as we now get settled, we are now on time for the public comment period. This is the time, as you know, it's the second meeting of the month where we are not looking at zoning matters, but we allow time to dedicate to allow members of the public who have registered in advance to speak upon matters related to the Metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County community. Tonight, we have two people that have signed up. They have 2 minutes each. The first individual is Mr. Eric Huth. He is from District 11. He is from Councilmember Larry Hager's district. Mr. Huth, you've got 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Eric Huth. I live at 1880 Merritt Street in Old Hickory, and I'm the current president of the Metropolitan Nashville Education Association. Nashville has for too long concentrated on the interests of business, sports, and development at the expense of schools and employees. I fear that many of you do not understand the extent to which failing to fund our schools is impacting our children. Let me give you a few examples of how our schools are underfunded. MNPS only has a few $1 million in the budget each year when we really need closer to $15 million to get textbooks in the hands of every one of our students. Supplies and materials are scarce in our classroom, including basics like pencils and papers. So we need more funding for classroom supplies so that teachers won't have to provide them for our children. You passed a budget last year for its city schools that has a $13 million hole in it. That budget was built on the assumption that Metro Nashville Public Schools would be able to sell its bus barn, but that would leave us with no place to fix our school buses. There's a large number of classrooms in our district that do not have a qualified teacher, and this is largely because cost of living in Nashville has skyrocketed over the years, yet our average salaries rank 11th in the state. So as you move forward next year in developing a budget, please remember that your decisions have consequences for our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our second speaker and last speaker for the night is Mr. Cody Engdahl. who is from District 7 in Councilmember Anthony Davis's district.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This is regarding Riverside Drive and the changing of the bicycle lane, which has been on the shoulder and it's being moved to the median. Right now, it is temporarily moved as we're waiting to repave the road. And my understanding is this is a move to see if there's going to be any kind of flaws that they need to fix before they permanently move it. On behalf of myself and several of my neighbors, I live at 1903 Riverside Drive. We would ask that on behalf of walkers like myself, joggers, people pushing baby strollers, and people waiting for the bus, that until you have sidewalks for us to walk safely along Riverside Drive, please don't move the bicycle lane from the shoulder. And I'll tell you why. There's a few reasons why that makes it a lot more dangerous for the hundreds of us that have to walk along that road. One is now that the shoulder is smaller, so there's less room for us to walk along. And mind you that Riverside Drive is a very curvy road except for a straightaway which is on the south side of it near Shelby Bottoms. The other thing is that those of us, if you want us to walk into the bike lane, we have to cross traffic now twice. I mean, that includes kids, people pushing strollers, and I will put your attention to a gentleman that lives in my neighborhood. He is mentally handicapped. He has to walk to the bus stop from Linton and Tammany to Dorchester and Riverside Drive, and this man isn't very mobile, and most of the time I see him out there, he's ranting at things that the rest of us can't see. Now, he either has to walk on a small shoulder that used to have a bike lane there, or he has to cross over traffic twice so that he could walk down a block down Riverside and then cross back over to get to that bus stop. And I think that's all my time. I had other examples, but that's my concern and the concern of many of us on Riverside Drive. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Engdahl.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, so we are now on resolutions on public hearing. We are happy to hear from the public on each. We only have one resolution up tonight. You'll be given 3 minutes each, during which time we will ask that you begin sharing your name and address. We do ask that you do not repeat what others have shared and to be respectful to all parties. So the only resolution we have tonight is Resolution RS 2018-1389 by Councilmember Blaylock. This is a resolution exempting Rajani Groceries and Cafe, LLC, located at 5604 Nolensville Pike, from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit pursuant to Section 7.08.090.e of the Metropolitan Code. Councilmember Blaylock.
Thank you. Please open the public hearing.
Do we need committee reports? I think, Councilmember, I think we need committee reports first.
Yes, committee reports, please.
Thank you. Councilor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Public Safety Beer and Regulated Beverages voted 5 in favor, 0 against.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Blaylock. There we go.
Now we can open the public hearing, please.
Okay, I call the public meeting, public hearing open. Would those in favor of this resolution please signify by raising your hand? Would those who are against please signify by raising your hand? Okay, seeing none, would those in favor like to speak? Would you like to speak? If you would, you good? All right, then I will declare the public hearing closed. Councilor Blaylock.
Thank you, and I would like to defer this one meeting, please.
So I have a motion to defer, and it's been properly seconded. Any discussion on the deferral? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Council Lady. Okay, we are now on items on the consent agenda, resolutions. And what I am going to do is go through all the different consent, the resolutions that are on consent. If you think of something that needs to pop off of the consent agenda, if you will let me know, but I'm going to read through these, so stay with me. These would be on the consent agenda. This is RS 2018-1385, RS 2018-1390, RS 2018-1391, 1392, 1393, 1394, 1396, 1397, 1398, 99, 1400, 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 1410, 1411, 1413, 1415, 1416, 1417. Is that it? That's all? So anything else that needs to be bumped off the consent agenda? Okay, hold on. Councilman Rosenberg?
Thank you, Mr. President. 1393, please.
1393 gets bumped.
640 against, but let me just.
You get that? Bump 1393. Okay. And Councilmember Hager.
Vice Mayor, on 1417, I think it's appropriate. Councilman Bednay is not here tonight. I'd like to defer that for one meeting so he can be present, please.
Okay. So I'll come back to you once we get through the consent agenda. All right. Seeing any others? So I'm going to read the captions on all these bills, and then we will go back to the committee chairs for their report. All right, so we are on Resolution RS 2018-1385, Blaylock and Allen. Resolution requesting that grocery store operators within Davidson County take effective measures to reduce the use and/or impact of single-use plastic carry-out bags. Report the measures being undertaken in this effort, encouraging the use of reusable bags by residents and businesses within Davidson County. RS 2018-1390 by Davis and Withers, a resolution authorizing the Metropolitan Department and Housing Agency to negotiate and enter into a pilot agreement, accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to a multifamily housing project located at 300 East Weber Street. RS 2018-1391 by Councilmember Vercher, resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of general obligation improvement bonds in an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $775 million, providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of debt services on the bonds. RS 2018-1392, again by Vercher, resolution accepting a grant from the state of Tennessee, Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting and by through the Office of Family Safety for the Cherished Hearts Human Trafficking Intervention Court, which considers the needs of victim defendants and seeks to address those needs. We have bumped RS 2018-1393. RS 2018-1394, also by Councilmember Vercher, resolution authorizing the Metropolitan Department of Law to compromise and settle the claim of Andrea Miller against Whitson Maddox in the amount of $50,000 in reasonable attorney's fees, not to exceed $80,000. RS 2018-1396 by Councilmembers Vercher and Withers, a resolution approving the Benefit Board's waiver of repayment of pension benefit overpayments for pensioners under Section 3.08.230 of the Metropolitan Code. RS 2018-1397 by Vercher and Withers, resolution approving an interlocal agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, NES, and the Williamson County Joint Communications Network Authority for the interfacing of radio communication systems. Excuse me, RS 2018-1398 by Councilmembers Vercher and Withers, a resolution accepting a grant from the state of Tennessee, Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Nashville Career Advancement Center to provide transitional assistance funding from statewide funds to continue services through the American Job Center. RS 2018-1399, Vircher and Withers, resolution accepting a grant from the State of Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Nashville Career Advancement Center to provide transitional assistance funding from statewide funds for administration costs. RS 2018-1400, Vircher and Withers, resolution approving amendment number 2 to a grant from the State of Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Nashville Career Advancement Center to establish career services for eligible adults, youth, and dislocated workers with barriers to employment. RS 2018-1401, Vircher and Withers, resolution approving amendment number 1 to a grant from the State of Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Nashville Career Advancement Center to establish programs to prepare adult service recipients for employment. RS 2018-1402, Vircher, Gilmore, and Roberts, resolution approving a grant contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting through the Department of Metropolitan Board of Health and the Mental Health Cooperative to provide a secure drop-off location for persons needing a mental health urgent care alternative to an emergency room or correctional facility. RS 2018-1403, Vircher and Gilmore, resolution approving a grant contract between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health and the Best Friends Animal Society to achieve safe placement of all healthy and treatable dogs and cats located in safe coalition member kennels in Davidson County. RS 2018-1404 by Vircher and Gilmore, resolution accepting a grant from the Best Friends Animal Society to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health to provide a pay-it-forward, fee-waived animal adoption event. RS 2018-1405 by Vircher and Gilmore, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the State of Tennessee Department of Health and the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health to provide child fatality review services in the sudden death of the young, which is known as SDY, in children under age 19, investigated by the Medical Examiner's Office. Resolution RS 2018-1406, Vircher and Gilmore, resolution approving a contract by and between Enfield Management and the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health, to operate a mobile unit to provide services to women, infants, and children. RS 2018-1407, Vircher and Gilmore, resolution accepting a grant from the State of Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health, to promote the proper use of all recommended vaccines and respond to vaccine-preventable diseases in collaboration with the CDC. RS 2018-1408 by Councilmember Vircher, resolution approving a letter from the Metropolitan Mayor to the Deputy Commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Transportation outlining the Metropolitan Government's compliance efforts with the Americans with Disabilities Act. RS 2018-1409 by Councilmember Withers, Bedney, and Elrod, resolution amending ordinance number BL 2018-1177 to authorize the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County to abandon an additional 80 linear feet of existing 8-inch sanitary sewer main and easement for property located at 701 South 7th Street. Resolution RS 2018-1410 by Councilmember Bedney, Elrod, and others. Resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Metropolitan Department of Public Works, for a general maintenance agreement for Smart Corridor Phase 1, I-24 from I-440 to State Route 10 in Murfreesboro and State Route 1 from I-24 to State Route 10 in Murfreesboro and various connector routes. RS 2018-1411 by Councilmember Cooper, a resolution confirming the appointment of 5 members to the Blue Ribbon Commission to identify government inefficiencies, practices, transfer payments, third-party payments, and subsidies with the targeted goal of achieving budgetary cost savings of $20 million in annual savings. RS 2018-1412 is a bump from the consent calendar. RS 2018-1413 by Councilmember Vircher, resolution recognizing the historic election of Martisha Johnson as public defender. RS 2018-1414 has been bumped from the consent calendar. RS 2018-1415 by Councilmember O'Connell, resolution honoring the Country Music Association on the occasion of its 60th anniversary on September 25th, 2018. Resolution RS 2018-1416 by Council Members Bedney, Pulley, and others. Resolution recognizing September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in Nashville and Davidson County, Tennessee. And we bumped Resolution 2018-1417. Did I miss anything? Got them all? Okay, so here we go. I need committee reports. I'm going to start with the Ad Hoc Affordable Housing. Councilman Mendez.
On RS 2018-1390, the committee voted to recommend approval 6-0 and none against.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Tanaka Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. For Resolution RS 2018-1390, Budget and Finance recommended approval, 10-4, 0 against. And for RS 2018-1391 and 92, 11-4, 0 against. And for RS 2018-1394 through 1399, 11-4, 0 against. And for RS 2018-1400 through 1408, Budget and Finance recommended approval, 11-4, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Erica Gilmore. Health and Hospitals.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Health and Hospitals and Social Services, Resolution 2018-1402 was recommended 5-4, 0 against. Resolution 2018-1403 was 5-4, 0 against, recommended. Resolution 2018-1404, or 1404, I should say, was recommended 5-4 with 0 against. Resolution 2018-1405 was recommended for approval, 5-4, 0 against. Resolution 2018-1406 was recommended 5-4, 0 against. Resolution 2018-1407 was recommended for approval, 5-4, and 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
We're now on personnel. Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Personnel, Public Information, Human Relations, and Housing Committee met this afternoon, and we considered several things. Resolution RS 2018-1390, we recommended approval, 5 in favor, 0 against. Resolution 2018-1396, we recommended approval, 5 in favor, 0 against. 2018-1397, recommended approval, 5 in favor, 0 against. 1398, 5 in favor, 0 against. Also 1399, 1400, 1401, all of those we recommended in favor, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Okay. Planning and Zoning, I believe Councilmember Mina Johnson has that.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning Zoning Historical considers RS 2018-1409 and RS 2018-1410. We recommend for approval 9.5 for and 0 against. Half is Council Lady Buckley Allen. She was outside of the door, so she couldn't make it physically. So 9.5 for and 0 against. Actually,
So
9 for, 0 against.
All right, so we have half a vote on that one. That's good. All right, now we're on Public Safety. Councilmember Mary Carolyn Roberts. There you go.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Resolution 1402, the Public Safety Beer and Regulated Beverages voted 5 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember.
What about 1393? What about 1393?
Did we get 1393? 1393 was taken off.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Good catch. All right, we're now on Public Works. Councilmember Elrod.
Public Works recommended for approval, Resolution 1385, 1408, 1409, 1410, 6 in favor, 0 against. And may I be recorded as abstaining on Resolution 1397, please?
Do we have to pull that off?
Let's pull it off.
All right. So we are going to, because there's an abstention, we're going to pull off RS 2018-1397 because there is an abstention on that, okay? It will come off the consent calendar. All right, and now we are to rules and confirmations. Councilmember Haywood.
Yes, we considered several resolutions. We considered Resolution 2018-1385, and we approved it 4 and 0 against. We approved 1411, 5 in favor of, and 0 against. Also, we deferred 1412, one meeting. 12 for the deferral, 4 for the deferral and 0 against. And that's 1412, one meeting deferral.
Okay.
Then we considered 1413, and we approved it 4 in favor of and 0 against. And then 2018-1414, 4 in favor of and 0 against. 2018-1415, we voted to approve it, 4 in favor of and 0 against. And 2018-1416, we move for approval, 4 in favor of and 0 against. And 2018-1417, we voted to approve, 4 in favor of and 0 against. And with that, I think all committee reports are in, so I'll move to approve all of the resolutions on the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Properly seconded. Councilmember Hager.
Yeah, I renew my request to defer 1417 for one meeting, so my co-sponsor, Councilman Bednay, can be here to approve it with me.
Okay, so we're going to, well, that's not on the consent agenda. We've pulled that. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember. All right, so we have a motion, and it's been properly seconded to approve all the items on the consent agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Okay, so now we are back on resolutions that were not on the consent agenda. So, Councilmember Hager, I'm going to come back to you in just a minute. All right, so let's make sure we've got these now. Okay, so the first one I've got is Resolution 2018-1393 by Council Members Vercher and Roberts. This is a resolution approving an agreement between the United States Department of Justice, DEA, and the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, bound through the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, to provide police assistance to the Middle Tennessee Drug Enforcement Task Force. Council Member Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I've already given the committee reports, so I'd like to move for approval.
All right, so we also have a committee reports from Councilmember Roberts from Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Public Safety Beer and Regulated Beverages voted 5 in favor, 0 against.
Okay, thank you, Council Member. All right, so we are on RS 2018-1393 by Vercher and Roberts. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so we need to be on the board because we have a no. All right, so Madam Clerk, if we can open up the board. Again, we are on Resolution RS 2018-1393. Clerk has opened the board.
It's going to be a page turner.
Okay, Madam Clerk, if you would close the board and announce the results.
28 in favor and 3 against.
Okay. All right, the resolution passes. Okay, we are now on Resolution 2018-1395 by Councilmember Glover, resolution appropriating the amount of $360,000 from the General Fund Reserve Fund for the purchase of equipment for the Nashville Fire Department. Councilmember Glover.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Okay, Councilmember Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance recommended to defer indefinitely at the request of the sponsor, 11 for, 0 against.
Okay, Councilmember Glover, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I will move to defer indefinitely with a very brief explanation.
Okay.
Simply stated as this. I'm deferring because supposedly we have a 4% fund request coming for this particular equipment for the Nashville Fire Department. In my visiting of the stations, et cetera, this apparently is something that's a much needed piece of equipment. And so therefore, I'm deferring indefinitely. If it in fact comes in the 4% reserve, or excuse me, the 4% funds within the next month or so, then I'll let this one go to the wayside. If not, I do intend on bringing it back. So with that, I renew to defer indefinitely.
Okay, so thank you, Councilmember Glover. There's a motion to defer indefinitely. Do I have a second? Properly seconded. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Councilmember. Okay, we are now on, I believe, Resolution RS 2018-1412.
1997 was an abstention by Elrod.
Okay, let's go back. Councilmember Elrod, it was 1397. Okay, so we need to go back to this one, RS 2018-1397 by Council Members Vercher and Withers. This is a resolution approving an interlocal agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County NES and the Williamson County Joint Communications Network Authority for the interfacing of radio communication systems. Councilmember Vercher, I need to come back to you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I get committee reports.
Okay, you've given yours, I think, on budget. I'm going to go to Councilman Withers for the personnel report.
For Resolution 2018-1397.
1397.
Personnel Committee considered the matter and recommended approval, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. I do. All right, Councilmember Vercher, move for approval. Any discussion on this? All right, because there's an abstention according to the rules, we have to go on the board. So, Madam Clerk, if you don't mind opening the board, we are on RS 2018-1397. Everybody voted? Are we good? Oh, Councilmember Cooper, I need for you to vote. Okay, we are on RS, it's okay. We're on RS 2018-1397. We have to, yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right, everybody voted? We good? Huh? Are we good? Okay. Madam Clerk, close the machine and tally the vote.
30 in favor and 1 abstention.
Okay. So we were on RS 2018-1397. The resolution passes. All right. Continuing on, we are now on Resolution RS 2018-1412 by Council Members Haywood and Vercher. This is a resolution recognizing the historic election of Karen Johnson as Davidson County Register of Deeds. Council Member Haywood.
Yes, thank you. We move for approval, but we are going to defer this one meeting. She was unable to be here tonight.
All right. So, Council Member, there is an amendment in the packet. Did you all consider the amendment?
For Council Lady Karen Johnson? Which, I'm sorry.
Mr. Jamison, have you got it?
There was a late filed amendment, just to clarify, the school from which she obtained her master's degree and an additional board on which she served. If you wanted to add that before deferral, then at deferral, you'd be considering it as finalized.
Okay, we will add that, definitely.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve so we can get the,
Added.
so we can get the, motion to approve this resolution. Do I have a second on that?
To approve the amendment.
And then we need to be on the amendment.
Okay, I'd like
And
to
move the amendment.
move the amendment.
Okay, do I have a second on the amendment? All right,
Okay.
so now we have the bill in front of us as amended, and you want to defer one meeting?
One meeting, as amended.
All right, so we're going to defer this bill as it's been amended, one meeting. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so the bill is deferred one meeting. We are now on Resolution RS 2018-1414. This is by Councilmembers Withers, O'Connell, and Allen. Resolution honoring the service and legacy of Charles Frederick Charlie Strobel upon the 35th anniversary of the founding of Loaves and Fishes, a homeless feeding program he established together with Room in the Inn. Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Could I get committee reports, please?
Committee reports goes back to Councilmember Haywood.
Yes, we reviewed it and found it to be awesome, and we voted 5 in favor of and 0 against.
All right. Councilmember Withers, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. There is also an amendment that was submitted to this, and I would like to move the amendment, please.
All right, so we have a motion on the amendment. Do I have a second? Okay. Do you want to explain the amendment?
Thank you. This amendment actually was submitted by Councilmember Berkeley Allen, so if I may defer to Councilmember Allen.
Councilmember Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of corrections to dates that were added by the sister of the honoree.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Withers.
And with that, would like to move the bill as amended.
Okay, so let's vote on the amendment, make sure we've got that right. I think, do we have the amendment already passed on?
You do.
Just make sure we pass it. So we're on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Okay, now we're back on your bill as amended.
Would request to approve the resolution as amended.
Okay, now we're on the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you. Okay, and then the last one we have is Resolution RS 2018-1417. Council members Hager and Bedney. Resolution expressing the Metropolitan Council's support for continued racing at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Councilmember Hager, this is the one you've been wanting to talk about for the last 30 minutes. Okay, there you go.
Well, thank you. I think it'd be appropriate that my co-sponsor be here when we present this to the council, so I'd ask to defer it one meeting.
Okay, so we have a motion to defer, properly second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of deferring one meeting, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Councilman Hager. All right, we are now, I believe that takes care of all the matters on all the resolutions. We are now on bills on introduction and first reading. Do I have a motion to take them in? So moved. We're going to take them all together. Anybody need to bump anything off? Nope. Seeing none, all those in favor of passing all these bills on first reading, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. All right, so we are now on bills on second reading. BL 2018-1283. This is by Council Lady Murphy and Henderson. An ordinance amending Chapter 5.04 of the Metropolitan Code to restrict the use of proceeds from the sale of real property owned by the Metropolitan Government of Nashville. Councilmember Murphy.
Committee reports, please.
All right. Councilmember Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. At the request of the sponsor, Budget and Finance recommended a one-meeting deferral, 11 for, 0 against.
Okay. Council Lady Murphy.
And I am deferring this one meeting, please.
Okay, I have a motion to defer one meeting, properly seconded. Any discussion on this? All in favor of deferring one meeting, say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Thank you, Council Lady. BL 2018-1294, Councilmember O'Connell. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 11.12 and Chapter 16.44 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws regarding excessive noise. Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. On this one, I'd like to get committee reports, please.
All right, we're going to codes. Councilmember Swopes.
At the request of the sponsor, codes deferred for 2 meetings, 7-4, 0 against.
Okay. To public safety, Councilmember Mary Carolyn Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Per request of the sponsor, public safety voted 5 in favor, 0 against.
So you voted to approve?
We voted to defer, excuse me. 2
Okay.
meetings.
2 meetings, okay. Going back to Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move to defer 2 meetings with a brief comment.
All right, properly seconded. It's all yours.
Thank you. On this one, we had a little we basically could not get, I had intended to, in the intervening period in the first deferral, tried to find both time and space to do a community meeting. We do have that now scheduled. It is, per the announcements, Thursday, September 27th from 6:30 to 8 at Midtown Hills. So after we have kind of gotten some public input, worked with departments, et cetera, on this, we will probably revisit it 2 meetings hence and hope to have all that addressed by then. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Council Member. So we have a motion that's been properly seconded to defer this matter, BL 2018-1294, for 2 meetings. Council Member Glover.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I sent an email to Mr. Jamison today on this, asking for clarification on the use of vehicles inside of this particular bill, wanting to make sure that, I guess if we could get, and I'm just going to request the sponsor, maybe we can get a little more clarity on exactly what vehicles we're talking about. And so if it's just strictly construction vehicles or that type of thing, I would just ask, since you're going to be doing the public hearing and coming back with us, if we could have that final clarification, I would be grateful. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
All right, thank you, Council Member. Council Member O'Connell.
Mr. President, by way of response to that, I will say after that public meeting, I think Councilman Glover raised a good point. I will try to deliver to colleagues a kind of summary of the points here after we've received all that public and departmental input.
Okay. Thank you, Council Member. Any other discussion on this? Okay, so we are on BL 2018-1294. The motion before us is to defer this 2 meetings. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt deferred 2 meetings. So we are now on BL 2018-1314 by Council Members Cooper and Vercher, an ordinance establishing a blue ribbon commission consistent with the annual operating budget for fiscal year 2019 to identify government inefficiencies. Council Member Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. First time I'm saying that. Committee reports.
Council Member Vercher.
Thank you, Mr. President. My first time saying that, too. Budget and Finance recommended a 1 meeting deferral, 11-4, 0 against, at the request of the sponsor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cooper, you're back on.
I would request a 1 meeting deferral.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to defer this matter 1 meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. We have deferred this 1 meeting. Thank you, Councilmember Cooper. All right, BL 2018-1319 by Council Members Mendez and Vercher. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 506 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws regarding tax increment financing. Councilmember Mendez.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Vercher.
Budget and Finance recommended approval as amended with a re-referral back to Budget and Finance, 11-4, 0 against.
All right. Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Education voted 7 in favor, none against.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Mendez.
What I'd like to do is offer the amendments and then have a brief explanation with the bill as amended. The amendment, which I'll move now, is housekeeping, fixing a typo from when I first drafted this.
Okay, so we have this is amendment number 1.
I don't think it's numbered, amendment number.
There's only one amendment?
blank.
Okay.
Right.
So we have a motion to approve an amendment on this matter. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt? Okay, we're back on the bill as amended.
All right, now I'd like to move the bill as amended with a brief explanation.
Okay, so we have a bill as amendment. Do I have a proper second? Properly seconded. Councilmember Mendez.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. So I'm going to talk briefly about the bill that follows after this, just because it helps with the explanation. 1320, I'm going to ask to have that referred to MDHA and then defer second reading until the first meeting of December. That one, 1320, would amend an existing redevelopment plan, which requires both MDHA's approval and the Metro Council's approval. 1319 is different. It does not require MDHA's approval. We can do it ourselves. It is also important to know that 1319 is amendable on third reading. Tonight, I'm going to ask for, I guess I'm going to have to amend my motion to have it be for pass on second reading with a re-referral, but I'll get to that in a second, Mr. Vice Mayor. The framework for this bill about what we're trying to do is amending the way, further amending the way tax increment financing works in Nashville. I handed out and put on everybody's desk a Metro debt dashboard, which is just a two-pager, which pulls together numbers that we already have. I didn't make up any of these numbers. They came from our audits, from our treasurer's report presentations we've received, from budget ordinances we've passed. And basically, if you look at the statistics on this two-pager, it shows we've got a lot of debt. And there's a lot of numbers with a lot of zeros, but the statistic that pops out at me is that for the 50 largest cities in America, we have got the second highest debt per capita. We're sandwiched between New York City and Chicago, with San Francisco and Honolulu trailing after that. The one thing these cities have in common at this point is all of us are international cities. We have succeeded in making Nashville an international city. And the reality is that we've done that with borrowing. And I don't say that as a slander against the city. It is neither good nor bad, but it is true that we've got the second highest debt in America for the 50 largest cities. And that makes it appropriate for us to think about rebalancing how tax increment financing works. This bill would expand on the 2016 TIF reform that we all voted on, I think unanimously, with 25 or so sponsors. In 2016, we agreed that going forward, we would hold back the, quote, debt services taxes from new TIF loans. That meant that we were going to set aside to pay our own debt about 15% of tax increment dollars on new loans going forward. This bill in 2018 would expand on that principle and make it so we also withheld the schools fund money so we could pay for schools and debt services for new loans going forward. This is really a common sense thing. Other cities are doing it, especially as we're on the edge of approving, getting into approving multiple transit-oriented development districts with huge amounts of additional TIF financing. It's important that we leave some meat on the bone for our operating budget. And so that's the basis, the reason for doing this. It just expands on what we already did in 2016. With that, Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd like to amend my motion to pass on second reading with a re-referral to Budget and Finance on third reading.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Mendez. It went to Education as well. Do you need to go send it back there too, or just to Budget?
Sure, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, so it's going to be referred back. So it's been a revised amendment. Do I have a second on that? Okay, so we have a motion and a second in front of us. Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if this is more of a question for the sponsor or possibly for Metro Finance. I guess I'll start with perhaps the sponsor. You know, we have tax increment financing available to us as a development tool, right? And I think if we're looking at how it has been applied, how it could be applied, how it should be applied, in terms of it being an incentive for development in areas that are arguably in need of development. You know, if we look at this as kind of a comprehensive series of reforms to how Nashville can deploy this tool. Is there any effective way to score this, right? To say, if we apply this particular reform, what does that do to the overall utility of TIF? Have you looked at that? And I guess I would invite Metro Finance to weigh in as well, although it might actually be more appropriately an MDHA question. I don't know that they are that they have any staff representatives here tonight.
So I'm going to go back to Councilmember Mendez and let him try first.
I think scoring would be difficult. TIF comes in a lot of sizes and shapes across the country. One of the things that has got my attention about why we need to make this change is that the way transit-oriented development is supposed to work is radically different than the way TIF has happened since the beginning of time here in Nashville. Since inception of TIF, it's always been a one-off single parcel of property. And so if you take the property tax money from a single parcel out of circulation, that's I guess a relatively easy cost-benefit analysis. The idea with transit-oriented development that has been floated is that you would take the tax increment for entire districts. With the Donaldson one, we were looking at 150 acres, some that would be redeveloped, some that wouldn't. And if you multiply that across the entire city, I think you find that we'd be taking an enormous amount of tax increment out of circulation for the operating budget. As far as scoring it, because cities and states and counties and taxing authorities do TIF by mixing and matching different ingredients, I think scoring would be very challenging.
Fair enough, and I think that's maybe enough of an answer, unless Metro Finance felt strongly that they needed to weigh in. I guess a follow-up question is a different way of thinking about this based on your explanation for, or the sponsor's explanation for running this bill in the first place. I think we had some discussion in this room, and I know at Planning Commission as well, some of these concepts came up. And then with MDHA, the structure of that of the transit-oriented development district as a TIF district, effectively. I guess then I'm left wondering. This reform, it sounds like, strategically anticipates that is the model going forward, and I'm just kind of curious again if this. On the approach here, are we better off reimagining those transit-oriented development districts, or what's possible on that front, or are we better doing something like this by way of anticipating what's to come if the status quo is to remain intact? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I don't know if the sponsor wants to respond to that.
Councilmember Mendez.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The main reimagining that I want to do is that if you read headlines, I've seen TV scrolls when I was on News Channel 5 about this. I've read headlines in the Tennessean and the Business Journal, I guess it is, not the Tennessean. And the talk is that this is taking development dollars away from development, and that's perversely backwards to me. The reality is that all the tax dollars are supposed to go to operating budget, and this isn't a discussion about stalling development. I think we're doing pretty well at that. I think the statistics today said we got a $133 billion economy. The issue is whether we want to pull back into operating what's supposed to be in operating, the property tax money. I think that the starting point for this council should be to properly fund the things that we're supposed to fund, and at the risk of citing Councilman Glover, pay for what's important and then worry about the extras later. And I think this is restoring a balance. It doesn't cut off development at all. It leaves still more than half the increment for development, but it gets us back to funding the things we're supposed to be funding.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank Councilman Mendez for bringing this bill and for the unnecessary mention of Councilman Glover in the process. This addresses in part line 7777 of the Metro Schools budget, which is money that we pull out of the schools budget to send to MDHA. It initially went in there as an accounting trick to make it look like we give give schools more money than we actually do, because it was never intended to be spent by schools. But that line is growing by so much that this year it went $1 million over budget, and schools had to come back to get supplemental funding. They learned in the last couple of weeks that last fiscal year it actually went another $500,000 over budget. So that money was pulled out of the classroom and sent to MDHA. So this type of reform will slow and eventually stop the growth of that line, of line 7777, and ensure that money that's supposed to go to schools is actually spent in schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Berkeley Allen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to circle back to Councilmember O'Connell's questions. They're very complicated questions that I think may be answered by the Study and Formulating Committee, which I appreciate the Bill 1315 that will create that committee to look into ways to make TIF more transparent and understandable. And I'll repeat the question I asked in Budget Committee yesterday, which is, this sounds like one of the solutions that the Study and Formulating Committee might come up with, or one that they might evaluate in comparison to other possible ways to make TIF function better for Metro. So I would ask the question, are we putting the cart before the horse in passing this piece as opposed to having it be part of the slate of options that the Study and Formulating Committee looks at?
That sounds like another question for Councilmember Mendez.
I'll have much the same answer as Budget and Finance yesterday. Listen, we need to do a whole bunch of studying about this. There's a lot of literature, both academic and otherwise, but none of that changes the fact that the city's on the verge of radically changing how tax increment financing works by creating districts that take the tax money from all the parcels. And we're not the same city we were 35 years ago when we started doing tax increment financing. We're out of whack. We can't do the things that we want to do. We're having problems with fundamental equity for employees and citizens in the city, and taking care of at least making sure that the default is saving 45% of tax increment, some for taxes, some for schools, and leaving 55% for development loans. That's not going to put a brake on any development in the city, and setting it that as the default is something we ought to do now without waiting. There is a crisis in the city where it comes to its finances, even if people downstairs don't want to use that word. We've had to repeal pay plans. It is a crisis, and we should act by resetting the norm that where we are as a city right now, that 55 cents of the increment for development loans is plenty.
All right. Councilmember Allen, any response? Good. All right. Thank you. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Schulman. It's my first time saying it here.
Thank you. Just lost 10 seconds. I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. I admire the sponsor, works hard. It's probably the only time I say it to his face. You're pretty smart. But I do have a slight issue with this. Okay, you've heard me say it many times on this floor. There needs to be changes in TIF. And I think the sponsor is going in the right direction. However, I want to add a caveat, and hopefully in the future it will be a friendly amendment. I'm hoping for that. Because when I look at these TIF projects, I see people who look like me excluded, and I see women like my daughter excluded too. Now, there are a few TIF projects coming aboard. I know in District 1, there was one recently approved. And maybe there's a way that, and I want to forgive, we're going to pick on downtown just a little bit. Sorry, Mr. O'Connell. maybe certain places like the middle of downtown where TIF is available, but maybe we can increase or put back some of that money back into the coffers there, or change it there. But like places like Clarksville Pike, which will probably need the full TIF benefits, and also places like Dickerson Road, and looking at maybe there's an incentive if your project is 80% affordable, real affordability, or looking at, do you have someone have a minority fulfilling a need, like a grocery store or like a pharmacy for those certain areas? Because once again, we're going to change it, just as people who may be of a different gender than I am and people who look like me are finally getting a hold to figure out how this TIF thing goes. Now, we have to put money back, and we need to change some of these things so we can put money back into schools and give raises to our Metro employees. However, though, I don't need the rules to change, because even when the rule was bad or we need to make changes, it still excluded people that look like me. And we need to fix that. And this is one thing that we're going to have to focus on, because, people from all parts of, the world do development and do building. However, though, we should make it so that everyone is involved in the process. And I applaud the sponsor, and hopefully he'll support some friendly amendments to his legislation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilmember Steve Glover.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think fundamentally this is a good place to start, because at the end of the day, dollars that come out of this that schools have to pay back, it affects the entire city. Even though TIFs may only affect certain parts of town, this actually has the opportunity to help redistribute that money back into the classrooms, back into the schools. So I applaud the sponsor for doing this, because we're looking at a number of areas, as you're well aware of, Vice Mayor, on how do we try to free up money in certain parts of our budgets in order to put it back into the employees' pockets, back into the classrooms, et cetera. This is a good step forward, and I applaud him for looking into this, and I hope we can go deeper with how we approach everything else. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Robert Swope.
Call the question.
It's been a call for the previous question, and properly seconded. We're on that vote. Everybody in favor of going ahead and voting on this right now, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We are on this measure. So what we have before us, we are on BL 2018-1319, Mendes and Vercher, ordinance amending Chapter 5.06 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws. The bill has been amended, so the motion is to approve the bill as amended, send it on to third, and then re-refer it back to Budget and Education. All those in favor of this measure, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. All right. We are now on BL 2018-1320, also by Councilmember Mendez. Ordinance approving amendment number 8 to the Rutledge Hill redevelopment plan. Councilmember Mendez.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Vercher.
Budget and Finance recommended a deferral to the first meeting in December with a re-referral to MDHA, 11-4-0 against.
All right, Councilmember Mendez.
I would move to refer this to MDHA for consideration, and also to defer second reading until the first meeting of December with a very brief explanation.
Okay, it's been properly seconded. Councilmember Mendez.
So again, this one would amend a specific existing redevelopment plan, which requires MDHA's approval and ours. And it actually, the existing plan requires MDHA's approval first before ours. So they would have to approve it before we considered it on third reading. So that's why this motion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember. Any discussion? Seeing none, we are on the bill. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. All right. BL 2018-1321 by Councilmember Anthony Davis, Bedney, and Elrod. An ordinance disclaiming any interest the Metropolitan government may have in the Nashville-Gallatin Interurban Railroad right-of-way. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report.
Okay, Councilmember Mina Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval, 940 against.
All right, and Councilmember Elrod. Okay.
Public Works recommend approval, 6 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember Elrod. I am back to Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll move for approval.
So I have a motion to approve, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. All right, we are now on bills on third reading. First bill is BL 2018-1279. Council members Mendez, Syracuse, Sledge. This is an ordinance to amend Metropolitan Code of Law, Section 17.04.060 and 17.16.050, relative to the definition of alternative financial services and financial institution and location restrictions. Councilmember Mendez.
Committee report, please.
Okay, we have been approved by the Planning Commission. We are now to Councilmember Mina Johnson on the Planning Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval, 9 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Back to Councilmember Mendez.
Move approval.
It's been moved approval, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. BL 2018-1287 by Councilmember Kendall. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County by changing from RS5 to R6-A zoning for property located at 2814 Georgia Avenue, approximately 335 feet west of 28th Avenue North. Councilmember Kendall.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Ask for committee report, please.
Okay, Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval, 940 against.
All right, Councilmember Kendall.
Move approval.
Have a motion to approve with a proper second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. BL 2018-1298 by Councilmembers Vercher, Bedney, and Elrod. This is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain right-of-way easements, drainage easements, temporary construction easements, and property rights by negotiation and condemnation for use in public projects of the Metropolitan Government. Councilmember Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
Have a motion for approval, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. We are on BL 2018-1305 by Councilmember Van Reese. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County by amending a specific plan on properties located at 272, 288, 296 Broadmoor Drive, 329, 341, and 349 Ben Allen Road at the northwest corner of Ben Allen Road and Ellington Parkway, Zone SP, to permit a mixed-use development with a maximum of 321 multifamily residential units. Councilmember Van Reese.
Committee report, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval, 940 against.
Back to Councilmember Van Reese.
And I move for approval with a brief comment.
All right, properly seconded. Councilmember Van Reese.
Yes, I appreciate the attention. We actually went through this project twice, so if it looks familiar to folks, this is the Ben Allen Broadmoor project from Christian Perro, and the 321 multifamily residential units represent 14 different types of housing types. The change on this actually moves what was formerly going to be a hotel to a school.
It is going to be Nashville Classical, so an existing charter school. There was some question as to whether or not it's something new. It is an existing school. So with that, I appreciate your attention and ask for your approval.
All right, thank you. Council member, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. BL 2018-1306 by Councilmember Hastings. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by changing from R8 to SP zoning on property located at 926 West Trinity Lane, approximately 440 feet east of the intersection of West Trinity Lane and Old Buena Vista Road / Youngs Lane, to permit up to 16 multifamily residential dwelling units. Councilmember Hastings.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask for committee reports, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval. 9 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Back to Councilmember Hastings.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, we'd like to move for approval.
So I have a motion properly seconded. Any discussion on this measure? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. We are now on BL 2018-1307 by Councilmember Kendall. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by changing from RS5 to R6A zoning on property located at 1724 Dr. D.B. Todd Jr. Boulevard, approximately 570 feet northwest of Wheeler Street, which is 0.19 acres. Councilmember Kendall.
Yes, Vice Mayor, thank you. Committee report.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval. 9-4, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Back to you, Councilmember Kendall.
I'd like to move approval.
Proper motion, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Okay, we are now on BL 2018-1308 by Councilmember Sledge. Ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by changing from IR to MULA zoning on properties located at 500 and 516 Hagan Street, corner of Chestnut Street and Hagan Street. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Committee report.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval. 9 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Back to Councilmember Sledge.
I'd move approval.
Proper motion, proper second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. Councilmember Hastings, I'm coming to you. BL 2018-1310. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by changing from RM4 to SP zoning for properties located at 2423 Buena Vista Pike and Buena Vista Pike unnumbered, approximately 1,095 feet west of Tucker Road, to permit 69 multifamily units. Councilmember Hastings.
Thank you very much again, Mr. President. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval. 9-4, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember. Back to you, Councilmember Hastings.
All right, Mr. President, I'd like to move for approval.
I have a motion properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we are on BL 2018-1310. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. BL 2018-1311, this is Councilmember Hall. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by changing from RS15 to SP zoning on property located at 3606 Fairview Drive, northeast corner of Fairview Drive and Meadow Road, to permit 5 lots with 2 family lots for a total of 7 residential units. Councilmember Hall.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Planning, zoning, historical deferred by rule.
Deferred by rule. Councilmember Hall. We have to defer by rule. Okay. All right. So that'll go one meeting.
One meeting.
Okay. All right. We are now on BL 2018-1312. This is by Councilmember Hager. Ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws by amending specific plan on properties located at 915 and 921 Robinson Road, northeast corner of Industrial Drive and Robinson Road, zoned SP to permit 300 multifamily residential units. Councilman Hager.
Do I have committee reports? Are they all in?
Yeah, committee reports back to planning. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Planning, zoning, historical recommended for approval, 940 against.
All right, thank you,
Move for
Councilmember.
approval with a comment.
All right, Councilmember Hager moved for approval, properly seconded. Back to Councilmember Hager.
This is a project here that, as you know, a lot of that area out there was zoned industrial. And this is some acreage that's been there probably sitting for 35, 40 years. It's at the corner of Industrial Boulevard and Robinson Road. And the developers came to me and wanting to rezone this to residential. So in that regards, I had a couple of community meetings about it. We discussed it, and we thought this was kind of a win-win for the community to change this from industrial to residential, increase our density some. That would help bring some more businesses and other improvements to the Owicki area. So I'd ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. This has been properly seconded. Any discussion on this? Again, we are on BL 2018-1312. Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. We are now on Substitute Bill 2018-1313 by Councilmember Vercher. Ordinance approving a contract by and between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, acting by and through the Mayor's Office in the United Way of Metropolitan Nashville to provide one-on-one financial counseling and other financial education activities at no charge to low-income residents. Councilmember Vercher.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval.
Okay, so we are on the substitute. It's been approved by all the the Budget Committee, properly seconded. We are on the bill. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. BL 2018-1315 by Councilmember Mendez. This is an ordinance to create a tax increment financing study and formulating committee. Councilmember Mendez.
All committee reports are in, so I'd move approval.
Okay, properly seconded. We are on 2018-1315. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. You adopt. That is it. It is 8:20. I would entertain a.
You're going to announce that we're distributing the memo.
Oh, okay. So we are distributing. There is a memo on this one, right? There is an attached letter that is going to be placed on everyone's desk if this bill passes. So don't go anywhere quite yet. So if it passes, right? So you now have to distribute it. Is that right? Okay. I'm reading this information. See attached letter that has been placed on everyone's desk if it passes. All right. Do we have to wait for everybody to actually get the letter?
No, you just go on to the ordinance, but I thought we passed the ordinance.
We did. It's
Right,
over.
so now we're sending out, this is notifying them to fill the vacancy.
On this, okay.
Right, because we just passed it.
Okay, but that's the last bill.
Right, so we had to wait till it passed.
Okay, so we have to wait for it just passed. We are now sending out something that you need to have. Remember, at the next meeting, we will be voting on the
3 members.
The Health and Education Facilities Board. We have 4 members up for nomination. All the letters are about to be out. I will tell you while we're almost there that yesterday was Councilman Russ Pulley's birthday. Okay. And Councilmember Pridemore, when was your birthday? Sunday. All right, so everybody owes Councilmember Pridemore a birthday present. Okay, all right. I believe that we have everything out. Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Adjourn, properly second. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. We stand adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.